And we're back for another interview of an amazing contributor with Self-Care for Empaths giveaway, where I have gathered over 20 different coaches and healers to all give from our hearts and offer you amazing gifts. And today we have Toni Kaufman, who is being interviewed. And let me tell you a little bit about her. So she is a 3 times international #1 Amazon bestseller. She's an author, an Act 2 Game Changers Volume 4 and Volume 5, appointed former President George Bush personal computer trainer, and managed the transition team. She's an accomplished producer and casting director, the Latin Grammys, Texas Music Awards, Fremantle Media Productions, Family Feud, American Idol, America's Top Model, and more national and international productions. So she has got some street cred in the entertainment industry. And yeah. So I wanted her to come on board. She works with so many amazing coaches and healers who are, busting out their gifts into the world and radiating them for all to see. And she's got some amazing insights to share with us.
Thank you, Tiffany. Okay, I can leave now because I can't top that. So I'm just gonna say goodbye. No.
And by the way, you can pick up her free gift along with 20 plus others putting on the screen right now. So be sure to get her gift. And I'm going to have her talk about what that is. And in the meantime, sign up for the giveaway because you will love the people who are giving from their hearts. So, Toni, what brought you to this line of work that you're doing now? I mean, you've had such a vast background. Why are you doing what you're doing?
First of all, I have to admit that the reason that I probably have done so much is because I was born and raised in a very small town. And I came to realize very early that if you have a dream, you've got to do it yourself, because you can't sit there and wait for Dallas to come to you, for Los Angeles to come to you, for none of that is going to come to you. You have to take that step, get that footing, and make it happen yourself. So a lot of the things that I've been honored to be a part of and to create. I mean, from fajita cook-offs to spring break and South Padre Island for 7 years. I kind of put all my creative juices together and started just doing it and stopped waiting for it to come to you, right? And so since the 70s, I've been actively involved in a lot of creative marketing. I got a job as on-air talent at a very, very small television station back when cable television was first coming up. So you weren't even born yet, Tiffany, so don't worry.
I was born in 77.
So you're 1 year younger than my daughter. Let's put it that way. And I didn't have her at 13, so don't worry.
Okay, good.
So I guess what I'm saying is that being hired as on-air talent to the very first cable television stations that were going out meant that the FCC had a ruling, and in order for you to get an FCC license to have a television station, a television channel, you had to create X number of hours of local origination programming, and that was the big word. Things that had to be created by yourself. So the best way I can describe this is, if you like Weird Al, he had a movie called UHF one time. Okay, that was my life. I had to create the dance shows, create the dating shows, read books to children. I mean, bring in the preachers, do a I even had a lowrider show every Wednesday afternoon at noon. We would open up the bays at the studio and bring in the lowriders. We had into the big town of Pharr, Texas, Pharr, by the way.
And are you still in Texas?
I am, and I should give you a little background there too. My family's been in Texas since the 1600s. So the on my father's family, the Muñoz Villarreal Canales line comes all the way back from there. They had a land grant, a 25,000 acre land grant from the King of Spain. And I remember asking my dad in the 1970s, "Okay, Dad, well, how much of that's mine?" And he said, "Oh, about that much." But it's as deep as you want it. So that was the extent of my richness. And on my mother's side, she was born and raised in Chihuahua, Mexico. And my grandmother was a concert pianist, and my grandfather was a doctor. So during the Revolution, I believe they came over to Pecos and through El Paso, right?
Uh-huh.
And they settled in Pecos in a little town called Fabens, Texas. So we can take it all the way back as far as you want because I go about 8 generations back on that lineage. And so
Wow.
I think that really has a lot to do with people's roots, with understanding,
Mhm.
what the drivers are, what the motivational factors. I don't need to do a past life regression because I think I can take it all the way back to my great 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 abuela.
Your great great great
So
grandma.
yeah, so on my mom's side, I told you Muñoz Villarreal Canales. On my mom's side, it was Chavez, Perez, Castillo, Llorens, Anchondo, Montserrat. So that goes
Wow.
all the way back to that, to where the French were in Mexico, right?
Oh, wow. And so we know a little bit about your history now. And what in this last year have you been up to? I heard that you've been doing some inner work, a healing journey. Can you tell
Yeah.
us?
Well, I part of the love that I have for the Rio Grande Valley and my little hometown of Mission, Texas, also has created a situation for a lot of families in Mission, Texas. There was a company that was owned, I believe, by Halliburton, and it was called Hay Salmons. Hay Salmons made DDT. Okay, and so basically, I was raised on 40 acres, about 37 acres. I had a little lake, a 2 acre pond
Oh,
on one side of the house, and then we had a 14-acre lake behind us. And every single time it rained, the fish would belly up and die. I
oh
mean, and it was
no.
just, yeah, exactly. So we didn't know what this stuff was. All I knew is that there was some red, smelly dirt behind my house that trucks were going in there and downloading and discarding, right? So they made all these hills that my little brother, my sister, and I would like, go. What do you call them? Little cars, go karts. We would go
Uh-huh.
racing. We would
Yeah.
climb the mountains. We could come down. We had
Uh-huh.
our pirate adventures, all on DDT. So what has happened is that if you look, have you ever heard of a super fund site? SUPERFUND. If you look
No.
that up on Google, you're going to see the results of what happened with the DDT plants being on the playground. It was the plant was here, the playground was here, and the elementary school was there. So all of those children were born affected, and of course, my family. My sister died at 52. My father died at 58. My little brother just passed away last year.
Oh
My
no.
husband, who was the city manager of Mission, just passed away last year. And my big brother
So
and I are the only
sorry.
ones left.
Uh-huh.
so, so
So being
I'm very
exposed to all of that,
they all yeah
definitely,
cancer
like
yeah
clairvoyantly, I can easily see without like science to back it up.
yeah you
There
knew we
has
were in trouble.
been a chemical,
Imbalance.
yes, that has pretty much poisoned your
Right.
family and people in that
And
area. So,
entire families, entire lineages, I
wow.
mean, it's been a journey. Um, anyway, when you look up Superfund sites, you're going to see a term that says the Muñoz Burrow Pits. That's the 40 acres I was raised on, and it literally states it by my last name, the Muñoz Burrow Pits, and what all had to be done to clean up the earth there. So needless to say, we don't have a family home anymore. We had to get rid of the acres. All my memories are gone. I've got them left in pictures and here. And so, I do miss the house. I miss the lake. I miss the patio. I miss the big barbecue place, and I do miss a lot of that. But I also understand the journey. So the question that you just gave me was pretty much I stay on top of all my tests. I mean, I don't let 2 years go by without a colonoscopy, without an endoscopy, without a mammogram, blah blah blah. So this
Mm-hmm.
year, they've started finding things, and so I've had in just the last this is August, in the last 10 months, I've had two procedures, and I mean, just unlimited testing, and then I've also been put on some pretty hard pills and chemicals and things like that that have to be taken care of. My CA indicators have kind of shot through the roof. And for women, for those of you who have never had one and you have a family of history, you make sure that you include that in your blood work. CA indicators. There's about seven of them. There's a
And
16,
what does
17,
that
26.
show?
It's cancer or tumor indicators, the propensity for your body to actually create it
Wow.
or deal with it.
So cancer markers,
Yeah, it's
basically.
cancer markers, right? And for men, and gosh, this is I can't express. Please, 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 if you're over the age of 30, get a PSA. Make sure you always get your PSA tested when you do blood
Mm-hmm.
work. That's the cancer indicator in men for the number one cancer, which is prostate, which took my husband and my little brother. And so that's kind of things that we don't know to ask our doctors. I thought it would
Uh-huh.
be great, and thanks to you, Tiffany, to just let
Yeah.
people know you ask for it. You don't wait for it to develop and then, oh, I've got to find out where it's at. No, you can fight it from the beginning, or try to at least narrow down the markers to see what area might have it. And if they shoot up 10, 15, 20 points above normal, you need to go get tested. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what I've been going through, and it has slowed me down. I think God has found a way to tell me to sit down and shut up again.
Interesting how that works. The universe gives you a little love. When it's soft, it gets louder and it gets bigger.
Yep, yep.
And
Ab-
now you're taking care of yourself, which is
I am.
wonderful. And it sounds like you and your family have just had a real tough go
It-
with health stuff because of the poisons
yeah.
that were in your environment. And I'm so sorry that
Well, we
you
didn't
and
know. We really, really nobody knew. I mean, it's
Mhm.
funny because you think of it now, and I remember the airplanes that would pass over, because Michigan was all orange trees, orchards,
Mm.
sugar cane fields, and all. And I
Mhm.
remember the dusters, the airplanes going, "Nurn, nurn, nurn," right behind our house, and I'm like, "Doug, it's spraying rainbows," right?
Uh-huh. Oh
So you're living legacy here of the dinosaur times of what happened when you don't know what this stuff is, right? So
Mhm.
that's what I've been going through, and I'm I always feel optimistic about it. I know I'm a big chicken. I want to live, so I'm not ready to hang up my tennis shoes by any means.
Well, having that strong will to live really helps. It really helps because the clients that I have where their will to live has declined because maybe they're in so much pain or have had so much suffering or loss, etc., their receptivity to being healed goes down.
Yeah.
Their ability to regenerate, those cells and tissues in their body diminishes. So the fact that you are pro-life, willing to live, wanting to do whatever it takes, including stopping and having some
And
self-care.
sitting down and watching and listening to some nice MP4s, MP3s, just
Yep.
yeah,
Well, at least you have exposure to so many entrepreneurs that are probably healers and coaches who you can reach out to and have that external support and external healing in addition to all the inner work that you're doing. So that's great.
and I love that you say that, Tiffany, because uh, friends, real friends. that we've made over the last 6 years
Yes.
have just are just there for me, and I can't pay that back. All I can do is, and that was one of the hardest things that I went through is learning how to just let it happen, and accepting it, and because I'm so used to
Receiving
being,
help
I know,
and
receiving is
asking.
that's hard, asking and receiving. And it's so funny because one of my good friends is Natasha, and Natasha Todorov, and she's just a genius in what she does. And she sent me way back when I first started this little journey. She sent me a message saying, "Tell me how I can help you." And my first thought was like, "What am I offering in my services that she can buy? That would help, you know." And she replied, she responded and said, "No, I just want to know how I can help you. The hell with business." And I'm like, I hadn't thought of that. Wait, I don't know. So it's so funny because we get on a treadmill, and we're going and we're going and we're going, and we're setting our goals, and we're setting our milestones, and we're setting our money milestones, and all this kind of stuff. And I've got to have this launch done by then, and I've got to have this speech done by then. And that's our life as a speaker, author, healer, coach, uh slash entrepreneur for all of us, right? And that's what our life has become over the past 4, 5, 6 years, but more so than ever over the last 18 months or so with the pandemic. And so what we're looking at is we start getting on that treadmill, and you're not slowing it down, and you need to do that because it's so easy to just
Mhm.
start spinning when you're not
Yes.
doing something right. And I mean, everybody and their mother says they have an answer for how you run your business, and everybody has something they want to sell us, and everybody has something they want to share. But you actually get to the point where it's saturation. It's too much.
Mhm.
And every time I look at Facebook, somebody else has something else out there for $37. It's really worth $5,000, and I'm like, what? When did all this happen? So,
Mhm. And, continuing on the exploration within and support and help for your family, what has it been like, if you don't mind sharing, about being a parent to a transgender child?
oh, that's been a journey since about his third grade. And as a parent of that, and we've been on 2 or 3 shows together where he explains how he felt, what his journey was. And I wasn't nice. I'll tell you the truth, Tiffany. I wasn't a nice mother when I first found out that she was gay. All right. And so that was to me, I was just so hard headed, and I was so anti, right? And I physically angry,
Mhm.
and I regret the hell out of that. I really do, because uh, I'm so glad that my husband uh, took care of her as she was coming out.
And when did that
I
happen?
Well, it's so funny. I was on a trip to Los Angeles.
Uh-huh.
And Todd was probably, I'm going to say, the fourth or maybe the fifth or sixth grade, because I had known something was up since the third grade. Uh, but uh, but I remember taking an airplane trip, and I had a book that I was reading on the plane. I opened the book, and there's a letter, and the letter is Ariel becoming Todd, right? My
Mm.
daughter saying, I'm not who you think I am. This is who I want to be. And I felt anger, and I didn't behave right. I didn't behave, but I can totally understand where parents come from, because the first thing is, I hope it's a phase. I hope that there's experimentation going on. I hope that
Mhm.
that everything will be all right. And then when you find out that it's not uh,
Mhm.
um, a lesbian relationship, that it's more serious than that, then it's a transgender relationship,
Mhm.
which means basically, in my heart and in my mind, I had to let Ariel go, because Todd took her place, and Todd is a boy. And so in my mind, I lost my baby girl. And so that was a lot of the pain and suffering that parents deal with is
Mhm.
I haven't lost my child. I've just lost a daughter who became a son. So now I've got, three sons and one daughter instead of two and two. And I prayed a lot, I read a lot, I thought a lot, and I just it was one of those things where you just have to let it go and let it
Mhm.
develop, and then fall back in love with your child, with the new child.
So what advice would you give parents who are going through what you went through?
That reach out. There's a lot of help. There is a lot of help. Don't do it on your own. Hell, if you want to reach out to me, you're welcome to reach out to me at any time. And I've done that. We've had a parent on a Zoom call, and I had Todd and me sitting there offering advice and just telling them what we went through and how we did that. I'm happy to do that for anyone. But the reality is, they're still yours and they're still your baby. And I can't tell you in the past, 20 years, how many funerals my son's been to. Because parents threw their kids out of the house, and God bless you, do not throw a 15-year-old kid out in the streets of
Oh,
Houston, much
that's
less any other town, right? You're in California, so I can imagine.
yeah.
But it's been one after the other, after the other, after the other of friends of his that I couldn't take it anymore. And
Oh,
they were
that's
all
so
ages, from
sad.
teenagers to early 20s, to that have just they were chatting the night before, and in the morning they're gone. And
Mhm.
so I mean, if that's the price of a parent not loving enough, not understanding enough, it's too high a price, man. Yeah.
Yes. So
So I
how
do
did
need to
you
tell you that Todd got married. They've been married
Oh,
for a year. He and Stephanie were dating for 10 years. They met at the Texas Renaissance Festival. So I have another daughter now. Her name is
nice.
Stephanie.
Really? I'm in your family and I didn't even know it. Love it.
So things turn out well, and things turn out
Mhm.
as they should, I guess. And it's not a phase, and a it's not something that's plastic and unoriginal and unauthentic. If your
Mhm.
children are really feeling this, listen, just take a listen. And if you can't deal with it, if you can't find someone to help you deal with it, there's plenty of places to reach out. But don't
If
lose the relationship for that, and don't lose
if
your
there
child.
was more love and acceptance and tolerance in this world, we wouldn't have any wars. We wouldn't
True.
have people trying to commit suicide because they feel alienated and an outcast. It would save so many people's
Yeah,
lives if we just all stepped up our sense of love and care and compassion and tolerance and acceptance
absolutely.
for difference and change. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I know that on your journey, you've also been doing exploration and investigating angels. Can you talk to me about that?
Yeah. I have felt this increased desire, and it's turned into a passion of mine to um, to find out more and more. And a lot of this happened when my little brother got sick, and he suffered for 5 years. And so we started picking up angel books, and I listen to books. So I have, angel books. I've got probably 20 of them right now on my Audible library. But I wanted to really start researching and finding ways to actually make them a part of my life. And for example, Angel Raphael is the healing angel, right? Angel Gabriel, Archangel Gabriel, is the messenger angel, and he's also associated with arts and music and things like that. And Michael, of course, he's the bomb. He's the one that protects us, right? So nobody can come at you, man, with that, when Mike's in there. So so I started understanding how they work and how they're supposed to work. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions that people have is that a lot of, and you've probably heard this 1,000 times. Oh, my father passed, but he became my angel, and now he's flying around and he's taking care of me. That kind of thing. So the reality is that I have found out through many hours of study is that angels have never been corporeal. They don't start off as a human that grows wings. You don't get the little bells that ring, when you jump off a bridge. So an angel is a very spiritual being who has always been there. And when I say spiritual, it's like a light being, which means they can be everywhere and nowhere at one time
Mhm.
because it's just energy, right? And the other thing that I learned is that that doesn't mean that our ancestors or your mother or your father, your sister aren't also your guides, but they're not turned into angels. So that was one thing I had to understand.
Yeah, angels are highly evolved spiritual beings.
Right.
Highly evolved.
And that's so special because if they're at that level and they've been sent to take care of us, I mean,
Mhm.
this is huge. This is really huge because we're still doing silly stuff, you know. But the other thing and I like to say it this way, the other thing that I learned is that every morning, and
Mhm.
and here's the story, and you're gonna laugh at me. An angel is like a vampire, okay? And let me explain that, okay? Because I grew up in the movie theater, right? And you remember the old movie theaters with Vincent Price and Bela Lugosi? I mean, they would knock on the window, and they didn't have permission to come in until you opened the door or opened the window or
Invited
invited
them
them in,
in.
right? Right? That's exactly what happens to me every morning is I need all of you to know that unless you wake up and say, okay, guys, come on, be a part of my life, take care of me, guide me, help me, take care of me,
Mhm.
make sure that nothing bad happens to me. You have to invite them in. And if you don't do that, they're just all sitting around playing cards waiting for you to invite them in.
Invite them in, be
Yes.
open and receptive.
Yes.
Listen to those whispers that are often like really small voices giving you the guidance that if your aura is so cluttered with chaos and stress and crap, there's no way you can even sense them, hear them, feel them, acknowledge them.
Yeah.
That's why I so love meditation, because it just gets me nice and empty, and then I can hear those gentle whispers. And what you said about like just inviting them in, and
Yeah.
being great, called Hiring the Heavens by Jean Slater, that I read. She was a friend of mine like 20, almost 25 years ago. And she wrote this book, and it's a small little book, and it talks about hiring teams of angels
Love it.
for different projects, like a real estate angel team and a marketing team and a house cleaning team and a, you know, driving team, and
I
like
love
all these teams. And I swear to you, I had after I was reading that book, I had like legions of angels lined up ready to help. It's like they holding these signs, will work for gratitude. Like they were so humorous about it too. Like it was so fantastic to
I love
just have that like knowingness that I'm being held and loved and guided by angels. So
so
thank you
important.
for bringing in that element, because our empaths, we love me some angels.
It's true, you do. It's
Yes.
very true.
Yes. And how else do you support empaths and coaches and healers and entrepreneurs in your business?
Well, and that's a great question because empaths are looking for more than just the dollar sign at the end. And this is what I have
Yes.
found that really, I mean, thrives in the community that we're in, Tiffany, and that's the authors, speakers, healers, and coaches. And I call them slash entrepreneurs. There's the formula. It's everybody on top, and they're all entrepreneurs. But the real power that you have is in what's called heart centered or customer centric, or you're always, gosh, I haven't met anybody in this entire industry that has told me I'm just in it for the money. You know, just it doesn't happen. I mean, we've hosted the 2 week of kindness. We've got over 150 speakers, right? That's and the next
And
one's
I
coming up
love
in
your week of
Thanksgiving.
kindness, by
The
the
week of
way.
kindness and gratitude. You're amazing. I can't wait to have you back on the show. But all out of 10 keynote speakers, 150 speakers, every single one of them had the same thing: is I want to serve, I want to help, I want to experience somebody who can bring me along. I want to leverage my being. I want to have a mentor. I want to be a mentor. That's what I hear all the time. And what a great world to be in. I mean, this is
Mhm.
this is
And
really nice.
and so how do you support us? Like, what's the gifts that you bring other than being awesome in the entertainment industry and giving us a gift here on this giveaway that's all about helping you to be camera ready?
You know what? I just love it because it's something that I used to do as a hobby, and
Uh-huh.
I never really did it as a full time business. But I'm having so much fun with it. So what I've done is I've taken my producer hat off, I've taken my casting director hat off, and I put in my talent agent hat so that I can try to get you where you need to be. And so in our world, we've got three types of speakers. You've got the emerging speaker, the one that's just starting,
Mhm.
that's not really sure how to make any money off of it, but they know they've got a good story. Then you've got the experienced speakers who are more like Tiffany and folks who just have a lot of experience behind them. They've got a business. It's not a hobby anymore. It's actually a business. It's earning some money. And then the last of those is the experts. All right. And so the experts are the ones that I feel are now ready to be taken to stages, podcasts, radio shows, television shows. They need more stages.
Mhm.
So how do I put all of that together into what I'm creating? Is I created the Standout Stars Speakers Bureau. And so standoutstars.com is where you go to find the information about that. But that's basically what I wanted to do, was help people achieve what they're trying to achieve in a certain amount of time by just being a member of something that was very reasonably priced. So back to the gift. The gift is I would like to have a makeup makeover with you. So girls, you're listening, but listen, I did Bill Nye's makeup too. So I can take care of men as well. All right. So we're having a makeup makeover. And what that is about 90 minutes of you and I, you know, with 5 or 6 people with us. Everybody brings their makeup to the table, and then we literally start camera, lights, camera, and makeup. And so by the end of the 90 minutes, you will know how you put it on. You'll know where to put it on. You'll know where the light hits. You know where how much shadow to put on. You'll know, what to do with your unruly hair with all the gray, since we haven't been going to our hairdressers. So there's just a lot of things that I'm bringing to the table that I think would make this a lot of fun. So basically, we're having a slumber party on Zoom.
How fun is that? And by the way, Susie says, what a powerful opportunity. Thank you, Toni, for creating opportunities for people with a message to share.
Susie is the thrive expert. So you guys want to learn how to thrive in these times? That's your hero right there, Susie. I love you. Thank you, Tiffany, for sharing that.
Yeah. Well, I love that you are generously offering your your talents. You're willing to even do a makeup session, talk about lights, talk about hair, talk about creating a space for us to get out there into the world. Because if you're a coach or a healer or entrepreneur, like trying to make a difference, you've got to get in front of the friggin' camera. You can't just hide behind
The world
your
has changed. You've got to
exactly.
have video.
It's
You do.
I used to love all of my teleclasses because I didn't have to put on any makeup. And then in the last few years when, video and Zoom and all of that became more needed. And then of course when the pandemic hit, it's like obviously we have
Yeah.
to be now in that camera position. It it ended up being a smooth transition because I had already started that. But some people are afraid to put themselves out there. And so, Toni can help you with the physical things. And then if you have some fears about that, reach out for healing for me. I'd be happy to help you. And Toni's got resources for that too. So there are no excuses for the coaches, healers, and entrepreneurs and authors and people who want to make that impact.
Right. And if
To
you've got a
get out
story, and
there.
everybody has a story, especially boomers out there, you are the world-class mentors. You know what you have inside. And if you're retired, it doesn't matter. I am. And look what happened to me.
But you're doing labors of love. And so
Exactly.
it doesn't feel like work. And that same for me. Like, I work massive hours, but I love it. I choose it. I do it because I can.
So true.
It doesn't take a lot of energy and force when you're doing what you love. And then when you allow yourself to get paid for it, it's even better. It's like switching from that I'm doing it as a hobby and being of service, and maybe I'll take a love donation, to, hey, this is my 6 and 7 figure business. And I still am coming at it with that heart-centered space and making an impact and getting out there and reaching people who need and want the help and support.
Exactly right. Couldn't have said it better myself, Miss Kano.
See, we tag teamed it on that one. So any final words to wrap up our interview for this day? And I'll put the gift link back up on the screen for you.
Sounds great. So that's the appointment for Are You Camera Ready? And that's the link. It's going to take you there, and you're going to pick one of the Wednesdays. We do it every Wednesday, and then just have a great time. And you know what? This is weekend. Oh my goodness, we're at the weekend already. So pay it forward, guys, and be nice to somebody else because they need it. There's so many people. There's so many people just need a nice word once in a while.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Bring that kindness.
And I love the self-care for empath. I absolutely love that. And by the way, empaths are not necessarily highly sensitive people. I consider that a split. An empath and a highly sensitive person are two different types of things. Talk to Tiffany. She'll tell you all about it.
There can be some overlap, but the biggest thing is not everyone identifies as being empathic or identifies as being sensitive. And there's so many pluses and minuses just around the word sensitive, highly sensitive. Like, some people think it's weakness, but strength. I taught a whole workshop on turning sensitivities into strengths.
Oh, beautiful. That sounds
Yeah,
like a
I
good
used
one.
to do a 2-day workshop on that.
All right. That sounds like a good one too. All right, everyone. Thank you so much, Tiffany. God bless
Okay,
everybody.
have a
Have a great
beautiful rest of your day and weekend. Much love.